Hello ladies and gentlemen, Sigvald here and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to show you a strategy that you can do as a new player and survive phase 3 by doing so. This is going to be a strategy that will allow you to stay alive during phase 3 with minimally built characters. You'll not need to have a character with 3 or 4 resistances talents. You'll only need to have some specific characters that I'm going to show you and use a certain strategy. Because as I have seen, especially in my league, not that my league mates, new players, are bad. They are amazing, but the fact is, most of the ones that decide to go into phase 3 are going to not have a very good experience. And because of that, they are not likely to hit phase 3 again. And that leaves phase 3 with very few people hitting it, because they don't know yet how easy the fight can actually be for them if they are going to do the right thing. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to teach you how to do phase 3 on a very low account and survive the whole thing. So with all that being said, like it if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, feel free to comment down below for any questions that you might have. Maybe subscribe for more content like this, hit that bell button to not miss an upload, and let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, let me explain the strategy to you. You really need one character. Other than that character, the team is up to you that you'll use. I'll also recommend you some teams maybe, but you will need Jon Stewart Green Lantern. Because of the fact that Jon Stewart Green Lantern will be having this passive, which will make you immune to secondary hazard effects. So basically, for those who don't know what hazard effects are effects that will deal damage and inflict some debuff, or just inflict that debuff and are on the ground. Like for example, let's get to a character that all of you know. Where is Atlantean Armor Aquaman? Atlantean Armor Aquaman is going to have a hazard on his second special. And all of you know that he just puts an area on the ground, and that area will damage the opponent, and at the same time for him will power drain. And when it comes to phase 3, there will be hazards on the ground. None of the hazards will damage you and drain your power at the same time. So some will drain power, some will damage you. And they will act basically like the Atlantean Armor Aquaman, though as I have said they are split, some damage, some power drain, and they will be permanent throughout the duration of the fight. And what Jon Stewart Green Lantern is going to do for you? He is going to have reinforced structures, as I have said, makes team immune to the hazard secondary effects. And by making your team immune to the secondary hazard effects, it will make you able to stay in the hazard that is going to power drain you without getting power drained. And that specific hazard is going to be in the left corner of the screen. So if you're having this guy in your team, you are going to be safe in the left corner of your team, and the strategy is that you pair him up with whoever you want to use in the raid and stay in the very left corner. Yet again, this strategy is going to be usable only for new players, because as you get over with your account and you upgrade your characters, the right corner, actually staying in that dot damage in the right corner, will become the optimal way for you to do phase 3. But until you get your characters with some decent dot resistances and some decent health and gets them tanky, the left corner is going to be the corner that you will want to hug. So with all that being said, let's get into the raid fight and let me show you how it looks. Oh, and I almost forgot one more quick little thing. You can get Jon Stewart Green Lantern from the League Store, and you'll only need to achieve 40 shards for him in order to unlock him. And he's as good to use as 2 stars, because you are looking for the passive that grants you immunity to power drain, and that does not scale with his passive rank. So improving his passives will help you in other areas, but for this purpose alone, getting him at 2 stars is going to be enough. He's going to require just 80 shards to get at 2 stars, and he's going to be cheap at only 100 league medals. So you are going to be able to get him very easily. So as you can see over here, I have a very low threat team, and I even forgot to equip the all blades on Black Adam, but that's okay since most people watching this video will most likely not have the all blades, so that makes it more relatable. So what you are going to do is going to blitz to the left corner, just blitz to the left corner, swipe back while pressing your block, and blitz to the left corner and stay there during the entire duration of the fight, because of the fact that the hazard over there is going to only power drain you, and as we have talked about before, because John Stewart Green Lantern is going to be in your team, you're going to be immune to power drains. The fact that you're staggered in the left corner might not be very beneficial for some characters, but if you are unable to survive phase 3 normally and you still want to hit phase 3, this is going to be the best option that you have. You have very little room to move around, because if you move too far off, you're going to end up in the first damaging hazard. So you'll need to pretty much stay hugging the corner all the time and trying to tag in while Brainiac is going to swipe towards you, or after he uses his abilities, or after he uses his ranged attacks. So most likely doing normal combos as you would do with other characters in other fights will not be a possibility for you over here, because of the fact that if you do so, you will eventually end up in the damage hazard that I have said is more on the right, and you just need to avoid that, because as we have said, your characters are going to be pretty much crap at this point. So Black Adam is a very comfortable character to do this on, because he can just sit back, relax, and use that special tree. At the start of the fight, I was tagging him in and out just because I usually use all blades with him and I'm used to that, and at some point I was like, well, why am I doing this if I forgot to equip all blades? So all he is going to do is stay in the far corner and just use special trees on Brainiac. With other characters it will be a little bit more complicated. You can also do this with a number of characters. I will later talk about, after this fight is over, which other characters are going to be proper to use for this strategy. The thing is, this is going to get a little bit harder after the first minute is gone, because Brainiac will gain a lot of power, and usually when you fight other stages of Brainiac, you are going to not care that much about his power, because he's charging more power than he's able to use abilities, because you are going to keep using your abilities and your combos, and he will simply not have time to use abilities. But over here he's very likely to use abilities more often, because he's going to be near you and you're going to be playing passive and defensive, and that opens up a lot of room for him to be offensive towards you, so you need to be a little bit careful towards that. But for most new players, making it to the last seconds, to the last minute of phase 3 is an accomplishment anyway, and this is going to be the damage that I have done. Again, I forgot to equip my all blades, and Black Adam is not built on this account. Let's get into some teams now. Okay, so for this strategy, as we have already established, you must have John Stewart Green Lantern, so that leaves us only with 2 slots for your team. So we need teams that work properly only with 2 characters composing them, because basically John Stewart Green Lantern is going to be a third. A decent character to use over here will be King of the Tenth Aquaman. As a beginner, your main purpose will be to use special tree 3 times. That will be your main source of damage throughout the fight if King of the Tenth Aquaman is not built yet, so you'll need to just do this 3 times to get that 10% of opponent's current health damage. So you can use him and pair him up with Power Girl or Dr. Fate in order to be able to do that a little bit faster. And yet again, the same strategy, hug the corner, but right now your objective will be just using King of the Tenth Aquaman 3 times. As I have said, Black Adam is going to be a great character along with Power Girl or Dr. Fate, because of his third ability, and because of that he can just sit back, relax, and keep spamming the third ability from the corner. Another team that you could kind of use but will not be extremely efficient in terms of damage will be a team like this, but also with Atlantean Armor Aquaman. Yet again, Atlantean Armor Aquaman is by no means a character that will deal lots of damage in fights. He indeed sacks at rates, but back in the day he had a very niche role back in when there were the early days of Injustice 2 Mobile. he had the role of being the main damage dealer in Phase 3, and what he would do, he would be in this team with John Stewart Green Lantern and with Dr. Fate. He would just sit back in the left corner as I have showed you with Black Adam, and instead of doing something else, he would just use the power of Neptune in order to deal damage. Because not only that this is going to power drain Brainiac and heal yourself, but it also has another synergy with John Stewart Green Lantern that we have established anyway that you are going to use, because he is going to also increase the team's hazard damage and hazard dot damage. So while this will not be the highest damage team that you can use for this, it will most definitely be the safest team that you can use for this. And other than that, I guess to some extent you can use any combo builder and damage dealer using this strategy, but the results will not be very optimal because, as I have said, you have very little room to move around. And at the same time, if you want to, you can replace Dr. Fate in the King of Titans Aquaman or even the Black Adam team with Shazam if you were to use your Power Girl and Dr. Fate someplace else, though that is most definitely not going to be recommended. Other than that, you can use any team in the game with this strategy, but the problem is other teams than the ones that I have mentioned right now will not really perform optimally for you in that specific situation, because most teams really need room to move around and do their combos. So with all that being said, I hope this was helpful enough to you. I hope you learned something new today, and comment down below for any additional questions that you might have. Like this if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, maybe subscribe for more content like this. This was Sigval the Grim, and I'll see you in the next one.